So Shane Walker, you're the co-founder and executive vice president with Proactive Budget. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Josh. It's great to be with you.
And before we get started talking about what Proactive is, we're going to talk about budgeting, and we're going to talk about what types of budgeting works and what types of budgeting don't really work. And yet so many people, and there are so many budgeting tools out there, you guys have cracked the code on something that absolutely works. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, can you kind of share a little bit about how you found yourself in this world and how and why you created Proactive Budget?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Josh. Actually, it is a passion and a mission of ours. My partner, Ryan Clark, truth be said, is the brains behind this, and I love him to death, and he has the heart as big as Texas. And he called me about 3 years ago, and he said, Shane, you have got to get in Proactive Budget with me. And I'm like, what is Proactive Budget? You know, in the past, we have put thousands of clients on different budgeting platforms because the truth is budgeting is the foundation of a financial plan. If you never learn to control spending, you will never get ahead financially successfully. And time after time after time after time, within 2 to 3 months, they fell off the plan and back into the habits of overspending and sinking into debt. And we met with a guy, a doctor, making $300,000 a year, actually over $300,000 in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and he fell off of it after 3 months, and it just like, there has got to be a better way. And so Ryan sat down with his brother-in-law, who is a programmer, a senior developer for a payment processing company, and said, listen, is there any way we can digitize the cash envelope system? And that's where we began. And both Ryan and I, in the entrepreneurial roller coaster, have experienced times as families when the financial pressure was so great, we didn't know how we were going to provide for our kids and our wives. And that pressure almost put both of us into depression. And I'm just being really honest with you. A struggle so deep that we wanted to change that for people's lives. And that's what Proactive is all about, and we're fired up about it.
So let's talk about what this is, what it actually is. But I think if we could start off with a little bit of background on budgeting. And so here's the reality. In 11 years in being the savings angel, I know that if you want to move ahead financially, you got basically two things that you need to do. Number one is, the more you can find new sources of revenue, you can increase your income. That's very, very important. I mean, that's really going to give you some more breathing room. Okay. Yeah. But in concert with that, we have to be good stewards of the money that we do have. And I think the frustrating thing, Shane, is that we look at it on paper and we say, in theory, we should be able to pay all of our bills and have a little bit of breathing room. But then the reality is, it's like at the end of the month, we're like, how did we not do this? And I think
there's more money to the money.
Yeah, the answer comes down to how you manage the budget. So any good company is going to manage their budget, and any family who wants to move ahead financially or take care of their responsibilities or make sure that they're not, in real dire straits, they have to just play with the numbers in a way that's going to set them up for success. Now, this is where I want to toss it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us what our main options are in terms of budgeting and how you guys settled in on the type of budgeting that Proactive facilitates in a way that's never been done before?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. Let me touch on just a few things. There's really 4 pillars of financial planning. There is the spending control, there is protection, there is accumulation, wealth accumulation, and then there's investing. And all the financial planners in the world and most companies in the world skip the spending control because they can't make money at it. And they focus on protection, accumulation, and investing, which leaves the masses struggling with this idea of spending control. Okay, that's it. It leaves the masses. So budgeting in the past has been, we go back, we figure out how much we spend in multiple different categories. We create a budget, and then we go to spending. And as we've moved from cash to cards, it's so easy to just spend.
It is.
And there's nothing that ties us to that budget. So then we come back together as a couple, oftentimes at the end of the month, and we say, how did we do? And we have overspent. We're sinking into debt. It's frustrating, and finances are negative, stressful, hard. 2/3 of the disputes in marriage are over finances.
Yeah.
So that's where we've been. And if you look at the budgeting apps and tools today, it really doesn't change that. It doesn't change that. And so really what took us to is the leader in the financial wellness industry is truly Dave Ramsey. And you ask yourself, why did he choose the cash envelope system as his budgeting system to help people? It's been around for decades, millennials. Why did he choose that? And the reason is because first of all, forces somebody to assign a responsibility for each dollar. And they put that in an envelope in actual cash. And each time you go to spend, you consult your budget, and you're intentional about those decisions as you spend the money. And as you take the money out of the envelope and give it to the cash register, the cashier, it's gone. And there's only what's left is left. Now, you can make decisions to change and put money from this envelope to this envelope to take care of your budget. But it literally is a real-time, intentional process where I'm looking at my budget before each spend, I'm making the decision, and when I spend, it's gone. And once that's gone, you can't spend anymore. The problem with cash envelopes is it's cash-based, and we live in a cashless world. And so really, the majority of people don't stick to it long-term because of the logistical nightmares that come with cash, right? And so our vision was to take that exact same process, digitize it, so you could use a card and yet still have that intentional nature of making the decision before each spend. And that's what we've done.
Brilliant.
And, yeah, I'm excited about it too.
Shane, I am such a mega fan, because if anyone's questioning whether or not the cash envelope system works, let me just tell you, it works. It's impossible to fail at budgeting if you're using, again, kind of a cash envelope system. But again, you bring up the point that it's really very difficult I think for most of us. Some people can do it, and God bless them for that. But for me, I like the convenience of being able to swipe my card. And so, absolutely. Shane, what Proactive Budget, what you guys have done, when I discovered this, and I'd heard about it from Ryan a year ago at FinCon, and a lot of personal finance bloggers are getting behind this because they know that it works. And you guys have kind of cracked the code on being able to develop a system that's not post-mortem. Post-mortem budgeting is behaviorally, it's just not realistic for the average person. Some people, again, can do it, but I don't believe that the majority of people can do it, again, which is why Dave Ramsey, focused on behavior, has to set up guardrails so that we can win, so we can succeed. Imagine how easy it would be for those of us who have ever carried some extra weight to say, I am going to give myself, the way to lose weight is create calorie deficit. Look, and I'm talking about someone who's lost a lot of weight in my life. And I can tell you that, how did I lose the weight? I just had consistent calorie deficits day after day after day after day, whether it was through exercise or eating. Mostly it was diet-based. Now imagine if you had a diet that when you go to take a slice, to take a few bites of that blueberry pie, like you get one bite and like, like that little thing starts kind of creeping up. And then you go to take another bite, and then all of a sudden there's like a force field that's like, wait a minute, I can't get that second bite of blueberry pie in my mouth. That's because you just used up all the money that was in that cash envelope. You just used up all your dessert calories. And you already in your conscious brain made these decisions. It's not somebody else telling you what you can and can't spend your money on. You, as a couple, you're deciding what to spend your money on. So what I'd really love to do, Shane, is if we could kind of give a little tour and a little demo about why are financial bloggers getting so excited about what you guys have created. Financial bloggers like me are really, really excited about that you guys have cracked the code. Listen, you guys are going to be enormous. As the world finds out about this, as Dave Ramsey starts talking about it, there's going to be, I think, it's the silver bullet. It really, really is, for families that really deserve to move ahead financially. So, would you be willing? And we'll go ahead and switch to your phone if you want to pull up the proactive budget and maybe kind of give us a little intro. And then while you do that, we'll switch over and we'll show actually a walkthrough on your phone if we could.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, Josh, that I want to there are millions of families that are hurting. Okay, over $1.2 billion were spent in overdraft fees last year, and it's astronomical the pressures that families are feeling. And just our hearts are that this system can lift millions of families from the paycheck to paycheck cycle, and then help them eliminate debt permanently. And so, what you said about the mission behind this, it is truly to bless lives. And so that's in our heart, and we really feel like that this can do that. So proactive budget, the magic about this system is the card that this is connected to will not allow you to spend. It will decline unless you take some steps prior.
So Shane, there's actually two parts to this. So there's the app, and then there's actually a physical and virtual card that you get. So those are kind of the two tools that you get when you use proactive budget.
That's exactly right. And that marriage is the very magic of the system. Okay, so let's go into this. If you come into the app here, you'll see that here's the debit card. Okay, so you get both a virtual and a physical debit card, and this debit card is default 0. So you can see ready to spend is 0. And so if I go and process this card or try to process this card at the gas station, at the grocery store, it won't work because there's no money on the card. So first of all, in a few very simple steps, I can deposit funds into the system. And as I do that, it puts that money, and you can see I have $1,000.12 in undistributed waiting for me to distribute, and it's simple to distribute. All you have to do is go distribute now, and you can actually custom distribute that between. You can do a waterfall. So there's multiple ways, and it's very simple, and it's a click of the button. And when I push that button, it populates my envelopes. Okay, and you can see that there's two parts of my envelope. There's one, my budget, which is in light gray. So for fuel, there's $400, and I have $88.96 left in that budget category, or in that envelope. Shane Fund Money, I budgeted $100, and I've only spent about $28 out of that. And that's the same with all the categories that I've created. So when I go to the store, let's say I go to the grocery store and I'm going to Walmart to buy groceries, all I have to do before I process that card is go and push spend. And it activates that spending. And what's actually happening here is we have set up through the onboarding process 2 checking accounts. One account that holds the money and one account that's connected to the debit card. And so in that 10 seconds, the money was transferred from the holding account to the account connected to the debit card. And so now that $84.46 is ready to spend. And when I process that card, if I try to spend $85, it will decline. It won't let me because there's not enough money in there to process that. But if I spend $54 will process, and within seconds, it'll show that there's $30.46 left of that $750 from the grocery envelope. So in real time, I always know where I stand in each budgeted category, and I have to make an intentional decision before I spend each time. And it changes the whole game. So now, just like you said, you have a scorecard in the palm of your hand to keep yourself to your budget. And that's exciting.
Shane, this is so simple when you show this right here, exactly how that it works. So just so I'm aware, when you initially start Proactive, you sign up, and we'll get into exactly like how to do that. But there's a link on the screen. There's a link if you go to savingsangel.com/budget. Then we'll get you off so you can get started with Proactive. And so that's how you get started. But I'm curious about initially setting up categories and then setting up amounts. Like, how easy is it to do that?
Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. In this screen right here, if you look up at the top, there is a plus sign. When you push that plus sign, it says add a category. And you just simply add a category. You put whatever category that is. Let's say it is exercise. And once you've set that up, you put in, I'm going to spend $100 a month on exercise, and then you can choose whatever color you want to assign that budget item. And let's say we want to assign it yellow. And so then we push create. And now exercise is created. And when I go to the distribute, then I simply distribute money into that envelope, and now it's ready to spend. Okay. And one other simple thing is you can see that in each of these categories, there's the transfer. So I can transfer money to and from any envelope. So as I'm making a decision to spend, if I don't have the money that I need in that envelope, I can simply just push transfer from one of the other envelopes. So let's say, okay, Christian, I don't need to go on as many date nights. So we're going to do, or we want to spend more money on date nights. We can go, well, we're going to take that from Shane's fund money, and we're going to take $30. And so then I just push confirm, and that $30 just went into the date night, and it took it from $71.42 to $91.42. So it's actually very intuitive and very quick and simple to use to make that happen.
And then, your experience in working with Proactive members or Proactive users, like, have you gotten any great reviews back? I know you have. I'm setting you up here at softball, but can you give me some examples of some experiences that people have shared with you since they started using this app? Because again, I think 2019, could be just such an amazing year for somebody that said, you know what, starting January 1st, 2019, this is how we're going to do our budget, and we're going to commit to it for 90, 120 days, and then let's see how things work out. But can you give us some ideas on like how this has worked for moms and dads, men and women out there, other people that are just really trying to they've come to you and said, you know what, Shane, we need help. I'm so tired of all of the drama around money. We want to just settle that. We just want to fix this thing once and for all.
Absolutely. And on the ease of this thing, just real quick, Josh, I've gone through several different budgeting apps, and literally it takes hours going through everything connecting everything up. This takes minutes. It really is fast, and it's fun. So I'm not going to give exact names, obviously, for disclosure reasons, but the average person spends $400 less a month by using our system. You transition that to an annual savings rate of $5,000, it's life-changing. I mean, $5,000 a year transitioned into investments over a 10-year period it's life-changing, right? And so people are seeing simply by using a simple system that's cashless, that they can hold in the palm of their hand and be intentional about decision making, changes their complete game. And we've heard couples talk about how it saved their marriages. We've heard people talk about how it's lifted them from thousands of dollars in debt and liberated them from those things. So you're right. We're very, very excited about it. And, you know, one of the other things I can share with you is when you create these categories, I forgot to show you this. You can actually that's not where I wanted to go. You can go into the details of these categories, and you can edit and put partner permissions. If you look at that, where you begin to work together as husband and wife on your budget. And if you're spending over a certain amount of money, it'll send a text or a message to the partner notifying that that's happening. Now, this isn't required, but we don't want to get people in trouble. But it is definitely available where these permissions, you can set up these controls that it's all available within the app so that husbands and wives can work together. Because the truth of the matter is, in most couples situation, one's a spender, one's a budgeter. The one that's a budgeter is tired of the spender spending money. Yeah. And if they can come together on that, it creates a unity in money that creates joy.
I love that, because the spender is involved in setting the limits. And so it's not like because they can't get angry, because I know that dynamic is that the spender resents being controlled. And it's a very real thing. But if the spender agrees to whatever the limits are, the spender can't get angry, because the spender is basically like, look, these are my rules. I'm the one who set up these rules. It may be uncomfortable at times. And if I want to renegotiate the rules or change the limits, I can do that. But we need to have a conversation about that first.
That's right. And, you know, another cool thing, Josh, is you can set up, like, let's say you're saving for a trip to Disneyland and there's $4,000 in that account. You can say, this is sacred money. Nobody can access this money. Nobody can transfer money out of this envelope without both people agreeing to it, ever. Yeah. And so it really creates sacred funds. It creates unity in budgeting because there's coordination, and it's all real time. And one of the cool things that I'm really excited about is next year we're going to bring out the kid card. And listen to this. Okay, so your high schooler, you can give them an allowance. They have their own account, their own budget, envelope budget, so that you can teach them the principles of really how money works and how budgeting, because ultimately, what's the foundation of a budget? I mean, of money? It's a budget. The foundation of everything is, if you don't ever control spending, you'll never really get ahead financially. You have to learn how to control spending. And so this is the essence of everyone's financial plan. And when you teach kids young, it creates habits that carry through their entire lives. But not only that, we're going to make it so that you can share the family budget with the child. So, for example, your son's at football practice. You live 5 miles out of town. You can give him access to a certain amount of the grocery budget. He can buy milk, eggs, bread, whatever, and it will sink right into the family budget without any effort. It does that, right, and he has access to his own account and the family account, and you as the parents have the controls to make that possible and give him access. So we're really fired up about that, because it'll make so families can work together and not just husband and wife.
Shane, I really truly believe that this is a life-changing app. I don't say that lightly. I know how many, it's one of the 4 horsemen in terms of, fights between couples. And I think that this finally gives the technology and tools for couples to, just be very proactive on their budget, to be able to come together and to be able to win together. And in 2019, I want this for couples. I want this for people who deserve financial abundance. And so there's no there's no surprise why you guys are getting so much buzz right now. It's really, really a beautiful thing. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see then being able to allow the kids access as well. So let's talk about just real quick now, how does somebody get started? We got a link. You go to savingsangel.com/budget, and you can go ahead and get started. You want to do it on the website first, right? And then get the app and the card and all that stuff. But can you kind of just step us through real quick what that process is, just so someone understands? And then there is an investment for the budget. And I think return on investment, one thing I like investing in things that have a very clear return on investment. And I think you had some numbers just in regards to the average amount of savings that families can experience when they're using Proactive Budget.
Yes, the average amount of savings is $400 a month. The app costs $68 a year for one card. If you want companion cards, it's $98 a year. And then each kid card will be $20 a year if you want to add kid cards in the future. And again, that hasn't been developed yet. So the rate of return on this is like, I haven't done it, but it's in the 1,000%. It's huge. And we feel like that's a very low cost to get control of your spending and finally have an answer to eliminate debt and break the paycheck to paycheck cycle. So how to sign up is really simple. Like you said, go to the link on your website. That will connect actually into the App Store. And you just download the app and it'll take you through a very simple step-by-step process to onboard onto the app, set up your checking account at our FDIC insured bank, and set up the categories, deposit money, and get rolling. And one thing I love to say is Proactive is not a skincare. It's a fun budgeting tool that will change your life. So It really is awesome.
I love it. Just one real quick, I wanted to point this out because I had forgot about it, but this is actually, if you want to talk about having a security, an added layer of security, because that card's not going to work. If someone says, I just found this credit card, I'm going to go to 7-Eleven and buy $400 worth of Slurpees. Believe it or not, I actually had someone steal my credit card, charge them $1,000 at 7-Eleven. So with Proactive Budget, that's not going to happen.
Ever. And can you imagine, okay, so there's a lot of these pre-loaded cards that they give for kids, right? They're preloaded. If the kid loses the card, the money's gone, right?
Yeah.
But in this scenario, you're exactly right. They'd have to steal your phone, hack into your phone, hack into the app, transfer money over before they just get a piece of plastic. It's truly the safest card on the planet.
I love it. I love it. You're essentially bricking that card. I love it, man. That's cool. Awesome.
That's right.
Well, Shane Walker, thank you so much for your work in creating this service. Honestly, for 2019, if there's a gift that I could recommend for every person listening or watching this interview is, start to become more proactive with your money. You're not, believe it or not, you actually will not feel the pinch like you might think. So I think a lot of times we think $400, I'm going to be living in scarcity. And it's like, no, you're not. You're living with mindfulness. You're making your logical decisions, and then the behavior is a natural, perfect reflection of your logical brain, which is, again, if you got all the numbers in front of you, is generally going to make pretty smart decisions. It's when we're in a store and we're like deciding whether or not to make that impulse purchase or not, that's when the brain just goes, we get brain damage. It's like we just, because we're in the retailers world, and retailers are phenomenally genius when it comes to swaying consumer behavior. So this is going to make sure that you're not eating 10 slices of blueberry pie, just swiping the card mindlessly. So
it's invigorating. It is. It's invigorating. It's empowering. Like literally, since my wife and I started using this, it is empowering and invigorating because we know where we're at. we know what's happening. It really is fun. It takes seconds and it's fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, I got my cards on my way to me now. And
Yeah.
so I've already shared this with my wife, and we are so excited because we're tired of having the family fight over, hey, wait a minute, our goal for food was this and we spent this, or our goal for entertainment, or the blow money, you went way over on buying hair care products, whatever it is, right? Like, we're both guilty. And so now, we can work together. I'm so excited about this, Shane. So again, thank you so much. Again, savingsangel.com/budget. If you go to Savings Angel, in the month of January, you're going to see Proactive everywhere. We are 100% behind this. It is going to fix family fights. It is going to make marriages better, and it is going to help people move ahead and live a more abundant life. Shane Walker, you're the co-founder and executive vice president of Proactive Budget. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Josh, thank you. Thanks for being such an advocate. We really want to change the world. Thank you.